Hello and welcome to a special episode of Football Talk Podcast. My name is Ozzie and I'm your host for today's show. Now, it's less than 48 hours until the World Cup. I don't know about you, but I'm very, very excited. I'm excited to see a lot of exciting players on show. And I'm very much sure that there will be a lot of classic encounters taking place. So I thought it was only right that we did a preview and also make our predictions of the whole World Cup tournament in general. So let's review the first group, which is Group A. So the group consists of Qatar, Ecuador, Senegal, and Netherlands. In fact, I think it's only right that we share some graphics to visualize what the tournament will pan out as. So we'll start right here. So Group A, we have, as I mentioned, Qatar, Ecuador, Senegal, and Netherlands. So on paper, you'd probably say Netherlands is the stronger team, which is a fair point. They have a lot of young players coming through, in particular, Xavi Simons, who's made a great impact at PSV since joining from PSG. You've also got players coming up like Timber, who's a great centre back for Ajax. You've got Frimpong, who's a flamboyant right back from Leverkusen. And then you've got Gakpo as well, who's very highly regarded and pretty much sought after right now as well. A lot of clubs are trying to get his signature in the January window. So a player definitely one to look out for. And then you've got your more accomplished players in Memphis Depay, Steven Bergwijn, and Van Dijk as well, and De Ligt. So lots of talent there, to say the least. In regards to Senegal, unfortunately, Mane will not be participating in the World Cup. He was pretty much fighting for fitness, and it was ruled yesterday that he would not be taking part. So very disappointing. And, shame for the player. I'm sure he was looking forward to playing for Senegal in the World Cup. Huge shame, disappointment for him. Senegal do have some decent players in the team. They have Dieng, who's a prolific goal scorer from Marseille. You've got Papa Matosa, who is a player from Tottenham, actually, but he's on loan to French club Metz, and he's made a great impact there, being a box-to-box player. You've got Ismail Assar, who we all know from Watford. So some good young talent there as well. Ecuador, they're a very solid team themselves. Casido, who we all know from Brighton, is probably one of their more up-and-coming players, but established at the same time. And then you've got Enner Valencia, who's he's been there for quite a while, but is having a very prolific season at Fenerbahce. So another tough one there. Qatar, you've got a few players. So Akram Afif is a forward who's very prolific as well. And you've got Al Mawiz Ali, who's another player to look out for. So don't have a wealth of knowledge in terms of the Qatar team. So I'm excited to see how they play in the opening game this Sunday. Now, in terms of my prediction of the group, I think Netherlands will be top in the group. So that would be my first selection there. This will be the tricky one. With Mane out, it does put me in a bit of a predicament. I would have gone for Senegal straight away. I think I will do still. I think they still have enough quality to qualify. And Ecuador will be pretty much on their shoulders trying to get a second spot, but I think they will just miss out. Unfortunately, for the host, they will be fourth position as well. Group B, you've got England, Iran, USA, and Wales. So we don't need to delve into the England squad too much, as it's my home country, so we're familiar with the players there. But just to name a few that I'm excited to see, Bellingham. I think this is a great tournament for him to put his name out there. I know he's well known all over the world, but I feel like he could really make a mark in this tournament. You got Phil Foden. Apologies, Phil Foden as well. Harry Kane, who's pretty much the talisman of England, so he'll play a vital role in terms of how the team progresses. And Saka, for me, has been one of the top players this season in the Premier League. Considering what happened to him last year in the Euros, I don't feel like it's affected his mentality at all. So it shows his character as a young player. So I'm excited to see how he does in this tournament. Iran, they have a few players that are experienced and have been applying their trade in Europe. So you've got Johan Bach, who used to play for Brighton, Mehdi Taremi, who plays for Porto, and he's been very prolific this season in the Champions League. And you've got Azmoun as well, who plays in the Bundesliga. So 3 players there that definitely look out for, especially in the first opening game against England. USA, they've got a young team as well with some up-and-coming talent. Some of them will be familiar with. So you've got Claudio Reyna. Sorry, not Claudio Reyna. That's his dad. Giovanni Reyna, who plays for Dortmund. Then you've got Pulisic. And you've got Aronson, who plays for Leeds United. Tim Weah, the son of George Weah, he's playing for the USA. And you've got McKennie as well, who plays for Juventus. So definitely a wealth of talent there. Wales, you've got Gareth Bale, who is the talisman of that team, where you've got some young up-and-coming players that we're familiar with in the Premier League. So you've got Brennan Johnson, who plays for Nottingham Forest. He's a great winger, has an eye for goal. Nico Williams as well, playing more first-team football this season. Can play on the left, can play on the right. So very versatile. You've got Daniel James, who's very pacey and can beat a man on the wing. And you've got Moore, who's been prolific for Bournemouth in the Premier League this season as well. So not an easy group. Tough one to call, to be fair. I think every nation has good wealth of experience and some up-and-coming players as well. I think England will top the group. I think they have the more quality, to say the least. I'm going to go for Wales as second place. And then I'm going to go for USA. And then I'm going to go for Iran, fourth place. Group C. So Argentina, one of the favorites for the tournament, to say the least. They've been undefeated for a very, very long period of time. So that shows that there's a toughness in the squad. There's stability as well. So they will be a strong outfit to play against. Obviously, no further ado by mentioning the GOAT there. Lionel Messi will be playing. Got Di Maria on the wing. DePaul, for me, is a good player from midfield. Enzo Fernandez is one I'm very excited about. I'm looking forward to seeing him. If you haven't seen him much this season, remember the name. He's going to be a future star, in my opinion. You've got Laura Martinez as well, prolific striker. They've got wealth of talent in their squad. Definitely one of the strong contenders in this group, as well as further down the line in the competition. Mexico as well. You've got Lozano, who's been fantastic for Napoli in Serie A. You've got Varga, who's a rapid attacker, built like a tank, but can score goals as well. So he'll be an interesting player to watch. Jimenez, who we know from the Premier League. And you've got Alvarez as well, who plays for Ajax, who's a very solid midfielder. So another team with good players there. Saudi Arabia, not familiar with their players, to be honest, but there are a couple that I've seen in the past. So Firas Al Buraikan, who is a striker, one of the up-and-coming players, and Salim Al Dawsari, who is a tricky winger. So he might be one to look out for in terms of flicks here and there. So 2 players to look out for. And for Poland, we've got Lewandowski, who's obviously one of the best attackers in world football right now. Milik, who plays for Juventus. Szymanski, who plays for Feyenoord, and he's made a great impact this season. And Zielinski, who plays for Napoli and is doing fantastic there as well. So another tough group. Hard one to call for me. I think it would be safe to say most would probably agree Argentina will top the group. It's between Mexico and Poland for me. I'm going to give the edge to Mexico. I just have a gut feeling that they'll do well in this World Cup. And then Poland in third position, and unfortunately Saudi Arabia in fourth. Now, Group D is an interesting one because looking on paper, you'd expect France to be the favorites, but a lot of people have said Denmark are the favorites due to their recent record, their performance last year in the Euros, and considering that they've played France in the last few times, and they've been victorious. So very, very interesting group here. France, unfortunately, are without Pogba and Kante for this World Cup competition. But if you review the French squad, they have an abundance of talent. So it's not hard to replace those players. Obviously, the players to look out for me, Mbappe, to say the least. Ballon d'Or winner Karim Benzema. One player I'm very excited to watch is Camavinga. I feel like he will definitely make an impression in this competition. Ousmane Dembele, who's been fantastic and is keeping fit, which is good to see. And Tchouaméni, I think with the loss of Kante and Pogba, he'll play a vital role playing the anchorman in midfield. So quality squad as always. Denmark, for me, they have a wealth of talent as well. So they might not have star players like France or any of the nations, but as a collective and as a team, they're very hard to play against. So some players that I can mention, Damsgaard as well, who had a fantastic Euros last year, now playing at Brentford. He's definitely one to look out for. Dolberg as well, who's had a decent season with Sevilla. Højbjerg has been fantastic for Tottenham this season. You've got Ericsson is making a return as well, which is a nice moment for him, considering what happened to him last year in the Euros. And you've got a young up-and-coming player called Ozzie, who's a very tricky winger, but prolific as well. So one name to look out for there. Australia, another name to look out for is Kuel, who's actually recently signed for Newcastle United. So if you're not familiar with him, you'll get to see him in action in the World Cup, but then also later on in the Premier League season as well. Very highly regarded, rapid player, great finisher. Definitely one to look out for. And then you've got Aaron Moy as well, who used to play for Brighton. So one familiar face there. Tunisia, you've got Kaziri, who's a very experienced player, but hard-working winger, gets goals as well. And then you've got a young player who's playing for Manchester United, but he's on loan at Birmingham, is Hannibal Mejbri. So see him make some couple of appearances for United last season. Definitely has some aggression and is a bit tenacious in his play. So I'm intrigued to see how he does in this tournament. But overall, it's not an easy one. I think it would be safe to say that France and Denmark are the favourites, but in which order? A lot of people have gone for Denmark to top the group. For me, I still think France have the edge. So I would go for France, then I would go for Denmark, and then I would go for Australia, and then Tunisia at bottom spot. Group E. So this is actually a very tricky group. Spain, I think, have been going through a transitional period. So a lot of young players coming through, but they've got some really good talents. They've got the two superstars in Barcelona. You've got Gavi, who's very, very impressive. Really excited to see him play. Pedri as well. Got another Barcelona player in Ferran Torres, who would be a great sort of goal-scoring asset for the team. Jeremy Pino as well, who's a great winger. And you've got Soler, who's signed for PSG. For me, there's great box-to-box midfielder, so I'll be intrigued to see how he does. Costa Rica, for me, the experienced players will play a part in their success. So you've got the likes of Joe Campbell, Brian Ruiz, Keylor Navas. So depending how they do, I think that will be a big factor in terms of how they progress. Japan, for me, they have a lot of young players, a lot of experience as well. Some players with great flair and technique. And I feel like could be a team that might surprise people in the tournament. So I'm speaking the likes of Mitoma, who plays for Brighton. If you haven't seen him play, do check him out. Very tricky winger. You've also got Kubo, who's regarded as the Japanese Messi. So obviously a big title there, but in terms of style of play, you can see why he's been rated as that sort of player. Kamada as well, who plays for Frankfurt, I believe, in the Bundesliga. He's been fantastic for them. Played a pivotal part in their campaign last season at the Europa League. You've got Ritsu Doan, who's another player, great ability on the ball. And you've got Taki Minamino, who used to play for Liverpool and is a great asset for the Japanese team. Germany, they've got Always have, to be fair, always have a good squad, good young players coming through. The top of the list is Musiala, who's been fantastic for Bayern Munich, and I hope he replicates that form going into this season. Gnabry, for me, he's the one that will take the responsibility of getting the goals for the German squad. You've got Havertz as well, who will play a pivotal part. Goretzka, who's had issues with injuries. I hope he has a good run in the tournament. Very solid midfielder, complete player in my opinion. And you've got Thomas Müller. I think his experience will be vital in terms of getting crucial goals, which has been the case over the years with him. So, prediction for this group, I'm going to go for Germany to top the group. Then I'm going to go for Spain, Japan, and then Costa Rica. Group F. So you've got Belgium, Canada, Morocco, and Croatia. So a Belgium team that's quite interesting to review actually, because it's pretty much a bit of an aging team right now. So you've got the likes of Eden Hazard, who hasn't really had much game time the last 2-3 years. He's been selected. For me, that's a risk selecting him due to the fact that I don't think he's match fit. So it'll be interesting to see how he performs. Obviously, Kevin De Bruyne is one of the best midfielders in world football right now, so he'll definitely be the talisman. We've got Lukaku, who I believe isn't fit at this stage, but is still part of the squad. So this might give an opportunity to another player, maybe like Batshuayi or Openda, who's doing really well for Lens in Ligue 1. So might see an opening there of Openda, for example, being sort of like a breakthrough talent in the tournament. Then you've got the likes of Tielemans, who's a solid midfielder, and you've got Carrasco, who's always been a reliable attacker, hardworking, gets goals from the left-hand side. So definitely a strong team, but a team I feel like that's maybe on the aging side as well. Canada, so they've got some interesting players. Alphonso Davies, who we all know from Bayern Munich. Jonathan David, who plays for Lille in France. Buchanan as well, and Hoylett, who plays in the Championship for Reading. So different players there that we'll be able to see for Canada. Morocco, they have some very, very interesting players as well. Ziyech as well, who plays for Chelsea. And Nesri, who's a very impressive striker playing for Sevilla. Mazraoui, who was a free transfer signing for Bayern Munich, and he's doing really well there. Onahi is a interesting player for me, one for me to look out for. A midfielder, but great technique on the ball, has a bit of flair about him. So I think he'll definitely be one that will catch the eye when you watch Morocco play. And you've got Saiz as well, former Wolves player playing for Besiktas now. I think he's a very solid defender, so definitely will have to be on top of his game to stop any attacks going through. Croatia have abundance of talent, and they always do well in World Cup tournaments. One of their upcoming players is Gvardiol, who plays for Red Bull Leipzig, centre-back, left-footed, very strong, great on the ball. So an interesting one to see if you haven't seen him play in action. Luka Modric as well, obviously the talisman of the country. Brozovic, for me, a solid defensive midfielder. Kovacic, Chelsea midfielder, who's for me a great box-to-box option. And you've got Perisic as well, who plays for Tottenham. So exciting oppositions there. In terms of my prediction for this one, I'm going to go for Croatia to top the group. I think it'll be Belgium second, Morocco third, and Canada fourth. Now, 2 groups remaining. We've got Group G now. So Brazil, Serbia, Switzerland, and Cameroon. So as I mentioned, I think Argentina and Brazil are joint favorites to win the competition. Brazil has always been my team, so I'm rooting for Brazil for this competition. I think they'll do well. Just look at their squad. They've got a wealth of talent. I won't even go through them at all. I'll just talk about their attack. So they've got Neymar, Vinicius, Rafinha, Rodrigo, Anthony, Gabriel Jesus. So that's an abundance of attackers. So I think it'll be interesting to see how they play. Serbia, they've got some decent attackers themselves. So they've got Vlahovic, Mitrovic, who's doing fantastic for Fulham, Lukovic as well, Milinkovic Savic, who's a quality box-to-box midfielder, and you've got Dusan Tadic as well, playing from Ajax. So good players there. Switzerland, an experienced team. You've got Mbolo, who's for me a good attacking option up front. Zakaria, who plays for Chelsea now. You've got Shaka, who is the captain of this team. Shaqiri, and one player who's up and coming is Okafor, who plays for Red Bull Salzburg, a player that's heavily linked with a Premier League move, and definitely one to look out for, in my opinion, as well. And then finally, Cameroon have some decent players. They've got Mbeumo, who plays for Brentford, Choupo-Moting, who's fantastic whenever he comes on for Bayern Munich, very prolific, and Guisa, who's probably having the best moment of his career right now, playing for Napoli. He's been fantastic in the Champions League this season. And you've got Onana as well, who is the goalkeeper from Inter Milan. So this group, I think it's only right. Brazil tops the group. And then it's a tricky one. Cameroon are very strong. Switzerland as well. Serbia have some solid players. I think most people would expect it to be Serbia, but I'm going to go for Switzerland. I just have a sneak feeling that they might do it. Then I'm going for Serbia, and I'm going for Cameroon at fourth position. And the final group, Group H. For me, the most difficult group in the whole competition: Portugal, Ghana, Uruguay, and Korea. So Portugal, the man of the hour, the man of the moment, how you can phrase it, Cristiano Ronaldo will be playing in the World Cup. Obviously, despite his age, he's still one of the best players in world football and still an attacking threat, especially in front of goal. An exciting player in Rafael Leao. One player I'm very excited to see. Another player, João Felix. Interested to see how he does. Then you've got Bernardo Silva, who's a great option for them in midfield, can definitely use his creativity to open up defenses. Then you've got Cancelo and Diaz as well, both players from Man City. Ghana, for me, very interesting squad. I feel like they have a lot of talent and will definitely be fighting for that second spot, in my opinion. So you've got our young winger in Sulemana, so if you haven't seen him play, another one to make note of, top player, one for the future, in my opinion. Inaki Williams, who was originally, I think, selected for the sort of under 21s Spain team, has decided to play for Ghana, so intrigued to see how he does. Mohamed Kudus, who plays for Ajax, very exciting player, plays a bit more as an attacking mid, but can play up front as well. Very prolific, great ability on the ball, both-footed, and can score some good bangers as well. So another player to look out for. Salisu, a solid centre-back who currently plays for Southampton. And then you've got Tariq Lamptey, so another right wing-back option for Ghana. And, as you know, plays for Brighton in the Premier League as well. Uruguay still have a lot of experience in that team and has some quality players. So you've got Luis Suarez, obviously. Cavani's there. You've got Darwin Núñez, who can also play in a vital role for this team. Valverde, for me, is one of the up-and-coming centre midfielders in world football right now and can definitely make a name for himself in this tournament. Bentancur, who's been in great form for Tottenham so far this season, scored a couple of goals last weekend. Rich vein of form from him. And then you've got Araujo as well, who is a centre-back for Barcelona. So got some solid players there. Korea, you've got Son Heung-min, obviously Tottenham striker. You've got Hwang Hee-chan, who plays for Wolves, and Kim Min-jae, who plays for Napoli, a powerhouse of a centre-back, and has done fantastic in the Champions League. As I mentioned, a very, very tough group. I will make the prediction, but I would be not surprised if between Portugal, Ghana, and Uruguay, any of these teams can qualify. So I think Portugal will top the group. I'm going to give the edge to Uruguay, Ghana in third, and Korea in fourth place. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you agree with my selection? Have I overlooked any team or any players that you feel like will make a big impact in this tournament? Drop a comment and let me know. Let's move on to the next round. So this is the knockout stage. So you've got Netherlands versus Wales. So with this one, I have to add in a scoreline as well. So between the two teams, I think Netherlands will be victorious, and I will go for a 3-1 victory to the Netherlands. Next one, Argentina and Denmark. This is a very, very tricky game. I'm going to give the edge to Argentina. I don't think it'll be a big scoreline. I think it'll be 1-0. I think they'll just nick it. Denmark are a very difficult team. I think people are underestimating how good they are. Germany and Belgium, I'm going to go for Germany. I think the scoreline for this one will be 2-1 to Germany. Brazil and Uruguay, this would be a very, very exciting encounter. I think this one will also involve a Brazilian win. I'm going to go for a 1-0 scoreline. England and Senegal. So I think England will progress in this one. Let me select them first. And then I'm going to go for a 2-0 victory for England. France and Mexico. I believe France will win this game with the scoreline of 3-1. Croatia and Spain. That is a very tricky game. I think Spain might nick it. I don't know why. I have a gut feeling they might nick it. So I'm going for 2-1 victory to Spain. Portugal and Switzerland. So I'm going for a Portugal win. And I think it will be a 3-0 victory for Portugal. So let's have a look at the games. Well, now if this was a reality, this is a great quarterfinal to watch, isn't it? You've got Netherlands versus Argentina. You've got Germany, Brazil, England and France, and Spain and Portugal. Yeah, that's what dreams are made of in terms of exciting encounters there. The first one, going to get to Argentina, and I think it'll be a close match. It'll be 2-1 to Argentina. Brazil and Germany. I know Brazil want to get some revenge from the previous losses, especially that big one over the years, which was a 7-1 loss. I'm going for a Brazil win. And I think the scoreline will be 3-2 to Brazil. England and France. I'm going to go for France win. I know, guys. I should be rooting for England here. But I think France have too much quality. I'm going for 2-1 for France. And in this one, I will go for Portugal win. And I think Portugal will win 2-0. So here you go. So this is the semi-final. Argentina and Brazil. And then you've got France versus Portugal. So this is a tough one to decide. I always root for Brazil because that's my team. But on the other side, I wouldn't mind Messi winning the World Cup because then I feel like he's completed the whole collection of winning every trophy possible. So I'm thinking with my heart on my head here. So I'm going to go for Brazil. I think it's going to be a very, very close encounter. I'm going for a 1-0 victory to Brazil. And then you've got France and Portugal. I actually think Portugal might nick this one. So I'm going for Portugal. And I think it will be 2-1 to Portugal. So here you are. This is my predicted final. Brazil versus Portugal. So Neymar against Cristiano Ronaldo. I'm going for Brazil win. I think Brazil will win 2-1. So yeah, so that is my prediction there. So, guys, let me know your comments. Let me know your thoughts in terms of my whole prediction of the tournament. Is there any points that you disagree with or agree? Please let me know. And that wraps us for today. So thank you for tuning in, guys. As I did my review, you probably noticed that I mentioned a lot of players to look out for. So what I'll do an Instagram reel or a YouTube short or TikTok video, as I'm on all three platforms, where I will present 25 players that I feel like will have a breakthrough moment or breakthrough talent in this World Cup. So make sure to look out for that on social media. If you haven't already, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at OzzieFTP, or you can follow me at Instagram on at Ozzie.ftp. So thank you for tuning in, guys. We'll be doing a lot more World Cup content. So the next one will be, I think I'll probably do a content after the group stages, and let's do a wrap up of the group stages, and then I'll do another episode to wrap up the knockout stages, and then the quarterfinals, semi-finals, and then the final, just so we can group up all of the good moments together and then discuss it in full detail. So yes, so make sure to follow me on social. Don't forget to hit that notification bell to get notified of all the upcoming shows. And if you haven't already, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. So until the next time, guys, take care, stay safe, and I hope to see you all very soon. Good night.